Imagine this. You are in a room full of people who love you, yet you have never felt more alone. The device in your pocket vibrates with a fresh confirmation, a new like, a new follow, a digital whisper that says, you exist, and for a fleeting moment, you believe it. But the moment passes, leaving a quiet, metallic echo in the chest. This is the central paradox of our age. We have built the most connected society in human history, only to discover that the connection itself has become a form of isolation. We are Atlas, condemned to hold up the weightless world, aching for a gravity we've been taught to abandon. Feel that? The quiet tension between the crowded feed and the empty self. The ghostly anxiety that hums beneath every notification. We traded depth for bandwidth, intimacy for immediacy. But what if this unbearable lightness, this constant, floating state of being seen yet unknown, is not a side effect, but the entire point? What if the system is designed to keep you perfectly suspended here, in this twilight of near fulfillment? We must begin with the unsettling question that cracks everything open. What if the thing you're using to cure your loneliness is the very instrument of its creation? The answer lies not in the screen, but in a profound hidden shift within you. The problem is not the technology, but what it exploits, a primordial human hunger. The 17th century philosopher Blaise Pascal saw it clearly. He wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. We cannot bear the silence of our own being, the terrifying freedom of an empty moment. So we flee. Once we fled into gods, art, or grand ideologies. Now we flee into the feed." Carl Jung warned of the persona, the mask we wear for society. But the digital age has weaponized this concept. We are no longer crafting a single mask for a village. We are fragmenting into 1,000 curated avatars, each performing for a different algorithmic tribe. The French existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre declared, "Hell is other people, but we have engineered a new hell, the perpetual panopticon gaze of the imagined other for whom we perform our sanitized, highlight real lives." Our very identity becomes a reactive performance, starving the authentic self beneath. This fragmentation creates a psychic wound. We feel lighter because we are hollowed out, our substance replaced by the reflected approval of the crowd. But this lightness is not liberation. It is the weightlessness of a leaf in a storm, directionless and at the mercy of unseen forces. The chain is not the device in your hand, but the deep Pavlovian yearning it has wired into your nervous system. To understand the true cost, you must see what this hunger silently erases. If these hidden forces compel you, subscribe. Your engagement, every like, every comment not only supports this channel, it signals the algorithm to bring us together for the next deeper layer. This erasure is silent, neurological, and total. Every ping triggers a microdopamine spike, a biological prize for surrendering your focus. Your brain rewires itself, not for deep thought, but for the frantic, skimming rhythm of the swipe. The philosopher Byung-Chul Han calls it the burnout society. We are not oppressed by external tyranny, but exploit ourselves in the pursuit of constant connectivity, mistaking communication for communion. The consequence is a collapse of temporal depth. You exist in a perpetual, shallow now, severed from the continuity of your own narrative. Your memories become external, stored in digital clouds. Your experiences are pre-framed for presentation before they are even fully felt. This creates a peculiar form of existential amnesia. You cannot bear the weight of a meaningful, coherent life because you have traded it for the featherlight burden of 1,000 disconnected moments. Your biography is a timeline, your story, an algorithm. The most profound casualty is your capacity for boredom, that fertile, empty space where the mind, unstimulated, turns inward to create, to dream, to confront itself. We have surgically removed this space, and in doing so, we have severed the neural pathway to our own inner world. We are left with a self that is haunted by its own absence. But what if this void, this very ache, is not a prison, but a key. The rebellion begins not by throwing away the device, but by reclaiming the silence it was designed to destroy. The rebellion is not a Luddite smash, but a philosopher's reclaiming. It begins with a radical, counterintuitive act. You must willingly step into the boredom. You must court the silence you've been taught to fear. This is the practice of what Viktor Frankl, surviving the abyss of the camps, identified as the last human freedom, the space between stimulus and response. Your first act of defiance is to widen that space. When the urge to reach for the digital void strikes, you pause. You let the anxiety ripple through you, unchosen. In that gap, you rediscover your own agency. This is a recalibration of attention, the most precious resource you own. You do not seek to disconnect from the world, but to reconnect with a different frequency, the slower, richer wavelength of depth. You read a book in one sitting, letting a single narrative claim you. You walk without a podcast, allowing your thoughts to meander and collide. You have a conversation where the phone is not just down, but forgotten. You begin to curate your inner world with the same intention once wasted on your digital persona. You are not fighting distraction. You are practicing attraction, drawing your consciousness back into the gravity well of your own lived experience. History's great thinkers, from Marcus Aurelius in his tent to Thoreau at Walden, understood this. Sovereignty is built in the quiet. By reclaiming your attention, you perform the most revolutionary act. You become ungovernable by the economy of clicks. You start to feel a new weight, the substantial, satisfying mass of a self that is integrated and chosen. This weight is not a burden, but an anchor. And it leads to the ultimate liberating truth. The ultimate truth is this: the unbearable lightness was never your fate, it was your fuel. That haunting emptiness, that digital age ache, was the ghost of your own depth begging to be reclaimed. The system showed you a mirrored labyrinth and called it a world. Your rebellion was to turn away and discover you were the solid ground it was built upon. Connection does not mean being perpetually available to the world's noise. True connection is the courage to be intractably present with your own existence, to bear the weight of your own consciousness. This is the paradigm shift. You thought you were hungry for more feeds, more validation, more stimuli. But you were starving for less. Less performance, less fragmentation, less of the curated self. The final realization is that meaning is not found in the broadcast, but in the echo that returns to you from a life lived in earnest, from choices that have the gravity of your full attention. You are not a node in a network. You are a universe of experience, and to govern it is your first and only sovereignty. So let the world scroll on, weightless and forever. You are no longer a passenger of that current. You have chosen ballast. You have chosen the profound, the slow, the real. The very weight they taught you to fear has become your foundation. Now stand upon it. The silence is not empty. It is full of you. If this final truth found you, ensure you never miss a paradigm shift. Subscribe. By liking and commenting with your realization, you help build a community anchored in depth, not distraction.